And welcome to the daily. How are you guys doing this Thursday morning? Well, it is very cold outside here in Des Moines, Iowa today. We took the grands to school, and it was 75 degrees yesterday, and today it's going to be a whopping 54 of a high. So I don't know how it is with you guys, but would love to hear what it is going on in your guys' world. Good morning, Taya. And what time? Good morning, Sue. And what's the weather like where you're at? Love to be able to hear that. And also, I always ask for prayer requests, which definitely want you to put those in the chat box. But I'd love to hear something awesome that's going on in your guys' world, life, maybe work, family, whatever it is, big or small. I'd love to hear some great things that are going on with you guys. Today, I want to talk about a trap that is easily entangles and ensnares us, and we don't think it usually does, or we don't think we're going to have a problem with it until all of a sudden it begins to happen. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced the comparison trap, and I'm not just talking about comparing looks or comparing jobs or comparing but we get to the point where like we really compare everything. Or anything, and then we don't feel adequate, or we don't feel like we measure up, or we get discouraged because we're not where everyone else is. I know it's easy to fall into the comparison trap when you are on, good morning, Henry, when you are on 64 and cloudy. Oh yes. When you're on social media, can be easily to fall into the comparison trap. I remember when I was first really, I've been on social media for a long time, but really starting to get more active on social media. And these people that I knew and followed, and like to see their posts or whatnot, and I swear they were traveling all the time, and they're always posting pictures of all these beautiful locations, and I'm like, how in the world do you afford to travel this much in your life? And then my youngest son, Nico, he goes, Mom, he goes, this is what people do, and this is how people want to become influencers and stuff like that, is they actually don't travel as much as they seem to be traveling. But when they go travel, they take a bunch of pictures everywhere, and they begin to post them all year long. And so it's starting to, build a following, and people want to see that. But when you don't know the behind the scenes to things, or even behind closed doors to other people in their life, in their workplace, in their families, all that kind of stuff, we can only see what is facing us, or visible to our eyes. And so a lot of that is social media. A lot of that is we're around proximity of people, and we see certain things and how things are done, and the face that people put out there. And we can a lot of times make our decisions or compare ourselves to those moments, but that's not the depth of that person's life. That's just the very surface of someone's life. And we can look at, oh my gosh, they have the cars, and they have this, and they have that, and they have this, and I want that, and I want to travel, and all of these kind of things. And we end up getting ourselves in a trap that is hard for us to get out of. And so then we try to strive to attain and achieve and to be something that you don't know what it's costing them on the back end. It is important that we walk in confidence in who we are, confidence in our gifts and our abilities, confidence in how we are created, not in trying to fit into someone else's shoes. I don't know. I have super tiny feet, and it's great when I go to the store because not everyone wears my size, but I don't get to share, and I've never really been able to share anyone else's shoes because their feet are bigger than mine. I mean, I'm a below average size and shoe, like 5.5, 6. And most of the people I know don't wear that size. And so it is so hard to try to fit into someone else's shoes. Now, I've looked at people's shoes and I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have those. And they've said to me, oh, Ange, just go ahead and just take them. But I can't fit into them. So why am I going to try to wear something that doesn't fit me, even though I like it? I want, maybe that's something that I want on the outside, or maybe that's something that I'm, have goals, but it's not my time right now, or they don't fit me. And so why am I going to try to make something fit that doesn't fit. When we are trying to walk in someone else's shoes, try to fit into, their lifestyle, we do not have confidence. We will breed more insecurity and enable the ability to walk out in confident and confidently is when we can say, you know what, I know who I am, I'm confident in who I am, I have strengths, I have gifts, I have this, I have that, and really focusing on the things that we do have and not focusing on the things that we don't have. It will be hard to walk in confidence if we're constantly comparing ourselves with others. No matter what you're comparing, comparison is never good. Now, we can look at someone and people can be ahead of us and we can go, "Ooh, that, I would really like to be there," and then making steps towards that, but not comparing. And then, all of a sudden we're elevating that person to here and we're diminishing ourselves down to here, and our confidence is beginning to wane. And then we wonder why we're struggling in all of these areas. Holistically, our whole being affects every part of our life. So if we're playing the comparison game, it's not just a mental game, it's not just an emotional game. It becomes a physical game and a spiritual game that a trap that we lay for ourselves, that we get ensnared in, and then it affects us wholly that we don't realize, and we're wondering why we're struggling here physically, why we're doing this, why we're doing that, because these things begin to weigh on us and it tears us down little by little. No matter how good we feel or look, how talented we may be, or even how successful we are, there's always going to be someone else who is better. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but can I tell you, you attain something and then all of a sudden you find someone else that is better than you and you're like, "Oh my goodness, I need to grow, now I need to do this, now I need to do this." That's never going to end. And so what we have to do is learn to be confident in ourselves and be happy with where we are and our pace of growth and where we're going at that time. It's easy to get caught up in the comparison game, especially when you're competing. And I don't know, I'm a very competitive person. We are a very competitive family. When you're competing for a position at work, at church, or even in your own home, I don't know if you guys have, grandkids, kids, you're, in your house and you feel like you're competing for attention. A lot of times when your kids are little, the husband and wife feel like they're competing for each other's attention because the kids need more time and attention at that time. Or you're giving attention to one child and all of a sudden the other one is starting to act up. Or I don't know if you've experienced, you're on the phone and then all of a sudden everything goes crazy because they're trying to get your attention. We compete for things because we are desiring what that other person has or the attention or whatever that is. When you're busy comparing yourselves to others, you are rejecting God's perfect design for yourself. You can't be who he created you to be if you're pretending to be someone else. And I don't think we try to pretend to be someone else. I think we get caught in a trap, and we end up being there and we end up comparing ourselves and we end up, trying to be something else we're not. And it's uncomfortable and it's stressful to try to be something or to try to fit into someone else's shoes. In Psalms 139:14, it says this: "I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well." Can I tell you, when we are confident in who God's called us to be, and we are comfortable in our own shoes, and we are comfortable being where we are at in this moment, in this season, because we live in seasons, and someone else is in a different season, someone else has other things going on. Some of us have been given a springboard, and that's what Jared and I have endeavored to do with our kids, is we are the springboard so they can go further. But some of us didn't have that. So we can't compare to someone else that's had something that we didn't have. Let's be grateful for what we've had, little, maybe barely anything at all, or lavishly been poured out on us. Let's be grateful and thankful where we are, the season we're in, and where we're going as people. If you guys have prayer requests, please put this in the chat box, and I want to be praying with you. I want to invite you to share this on your social media, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, inviting people into the conversation. And I'm going to pray with us before we go. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the daily, whether live or on demand. Together, we can begin to just reach everyday people and bring hope and life to them wherever they are at, because we need it. So does everyone else. God, I thank you for your faithfulness in our life. God, help us to see where we're at, God, and be content and happy in this season, not comparing ourselves and getting caught in that trap, God, but seeing where you're taking us, being okay with the baby steps, growing and being challenged and changing. God, and I thank you. You have called me. You have chosen me. God, you are preparing a way for me, and not just for me. This is for everyone that is joining in now or later on demand. You're preparing a way for me. You're opening doors. God, you're clearly directing my path. God, you're making a way. You're providing. God, you're showing me eyes to see and ears to hear what it is that you're saying and doing. God, and help us not to get caught in a trap, but to see clearly where we're at. In Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the daily. I can't wait to see you tomorrow right here. You guys have a great Thursday. Bye. Good morning, Ben.